Hi there. Today the problem we'll be looking at is two-sum. The problem states that given an integer array, nums, and an integer target, return the indices of the two numbers such that they add up to targets. You may assume that each input would have exactly one solution, and you may not use the same element twice. You can return the answer in any order. So let's look at example 1 here. Given the integer array nums, 2, 7, 11, and 15, and the target, which equals 9, the output should be 0 and 1. This is because 2 plus 7 equals to 9, and the respective indices of 2 and 7 are 0 and 1. Similarly, in example 2, we have 3, 2, 4, target is 6, 2 plus 4 equals to 6, therefore the output should be 1 and 2. In example 3, we have 3 and 3, target is 6, and the output should be 0 and 1. Notice that only one valid answer exists, and the question states that we would have exactly one solution. So this is good because that means we don't have to worry about whether the problem has a solution or not. So let's go to the whiteboard and see how we can solve this problem. Here we can see that we're given an integer array, which is 2, 7, 11, and 15. Let's make the problem more interesting, and instead of having target equals 9, let's have a target equal to 18. So how can we solve this problem efficiently? There are various ways to solve this problem, but we'll only get to the most optimal solution here because my goal here is to help you get up to speed quickly for your technical interviews. So in order for us to solve this problem efficiently, we'll need a hash map. Usually when you want to improve your time complexity, a good way is to sacrifice some space complexity. It's usually a time-space trade-off, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's see how we can use a hash map here. In Python, a hash map is just a dictionary. It has key to pair values. We want to do this in a one-pass manner, so let's have a pointer pointing at 2, and the goal is for us to iterate through this array once and solve the problem. How can we do this? What we can do is, at each iteration, we'll need to compute the target sum. The target sum is basically the target minus the current element. So let's see. In the first iteration, the target sum equals to 18 minus 2, which equals to 16. And what we do with 16 is that we check if 16 is in the hash map or not. In this case, since it's the first iteration, it is not in the hash map. If it is not in the hash map, what we'll do is we'll set the number, the current element, which is 2, and we save its index, which is 0. This will be useful later, and we'll see why. So now we move on to the next iteration, which the pointer now is pointing at 7. We compute the target sum again. And what do we get? We get 18 minus 7 equals 11. And we see if 11 is in the hash map or not. Again, it's not in the hash map. So we'll save 7 and its index. So 7 is the current element here. And the index is 1 because it's the second element in an array. Now we move on to the third iteration. And it's pointing at 11. We do this again. 18 minus 11 equals 7. And we check if 7 is in the hash map or not. This time it is. So if it is, we have found our answer. We simply need to return the hash map, and we want a value that is the target sum. So target sum and the current index, which is I, if you use a for loop, right? So what is target sum exactly? Why does this approach work? This approach works because as we iterate through the array, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see if the target minus current element equals to a number that we have previously seen. So again, target sum is a way for us to find the number in which the target minus the current element equals to a number, in which case it is 7 here. We want to see if this number is a number that we have previously seen. So because 7 has been previously seen in an array, we have saved it in our hash map, and we have saved its index, which is 1. That's why we can simply return 1 and 2. I hope that makes sense, and now we'll go to the code walkthrough. To begin, we need to initialize our dictionary. Let's call it indices equals to that. And we want to iterate over the array nums. So for inum the enumerate function simply returns two values, where the first one is the index and the second one is the element of the current element. And what we need to do now is to compute target sum, which equals to target minus num. If target sum is not in indices, if it is not in indices, we set indices num equal to I. Else, we can simply return it. I hope this makes sense, and that's it for this problem. See you next time.